touché un appareil à vue et ça.
And this dog's name is Anthony. Name of dog?
Jasmine.
Jasmine?
Ah, le comble.
Jasper. Oh yeah, boy. Yeah. Okay, 1 minute. So interested in smell. Being near the edges a little bit more, but now going to the center. Compress just a very little bit, but quite good. Come back to the smells. There's a little bit of arousal with the panting sound, the smelling. There's a little bit of slow down compression, so my first impression is maybe a little bit anxious, but not much, just tiny amount. Going to the garbage to smell, but not taking, so that's good.
You hope?
1 minute.
Okay, so handler goes into the space, walks 3 steps in, and then squats down and says hello. And then stands back up again with the leash on, then puts the leash on. This allows you to greet the dog without leaning over, and if you do both at once, dogs who are a little concerned about being leaned over could be a little concerned. So you say hi, then you do it. And then you give 3 pieces of food, one after another. So 1, 2, 3, talking to the dog. If the dog is very excited and jumps in your face, then you must stand up and do it. And now you stand with that much, the whole leash, and see whether the dog will just stand quietly. And you don't want to interact with the dog for that one short moment. It might be that you're talking or you're listening to your cell phone or you're doing something. Good. And now you heel the dog. And we use guide dog instructors or other qualified people for dog handlers because we want a good dog handler who understands dogs. We ask the dog to sit. So there's a little bit of excitement, energy, a little stress going on here for this dog. You pull the collar a little lightly towards this area and down. So there's a little bit of lacking of focus, so we have to ask again, but there's also distraction of the food. You can, if the dog doesn't, you have a chance to ask one more time and that's it. That is because sometimes the dog doesn't understand. We're using hopefully the French word.
Oh, he understands.
Yep. And it depends on your school whether you want to use food or not, if that's part of your training. But normally we don't lure them into it, we would give it afterwards. Because we assume the dog has learned. We don't use lures initially. Okay, next is, I forgot. Fan, yes. And so we walk by. We give the dog a chance to check it out and walk by. Oops, it's not working well. We'll do it again.
But he sees the
Restart. But he saw it, which is good. We'll go back. Very good handling. You're doing great. So he lacks a little bit of focus. He's kind of looking here, looking there. And then we sit in front of the fan, with the dog in front of the fan. So he's got to check it out again. And then we ask again to sit. So there's a little bit of sensitivity for the fan. It's really quite okay, but we would say very mild. He keeps looking at it, and he chose to sit back a little bit away from it. Okay, so very mild on fan. And then the umbrella. We do it at the time they get to the little dots on the rail cannon. When the dog gets the dots. We don't want the, and it's okay to let the person, or the dog go see the person with the umbrella. Good? Yes, you did it fine. Now we take off our leash here. Yeah. We go through the person first, and the dog follows. We tried it with the person on the outside and the dog first, and it was not clear to the dog it was going on. Very good with the underfootings. You'll need them to have it plugged in. Yeah, plug in the vacuum in a moment. Yeah, because it turns on and off.
Hang on, Stan.
Okay, now the Kong toy. You should always have extra food for the Kong or a second Kong. If it gets really slimy and gooky, then you'd like to have a different one. So 15 seconds, I think it was, 10 or 15. And then you take it back. We ask the dog to sit, but it really doesn't matter if they don't. We just try to be consistent with our commands. But what we're looking for is resource guarding, if the dog is wanting to keep it. Almost no dogs do that. Then we go over with the leash full length, so the dog can get away if it chooses. We could probably leave those plugged in.
You can turn it on.
Yeah, once she's ready.
Just, okay.
Take off the leash and turn it back on again. Turn on the vacuum again. Turn on the vacuum one more time off leash.
Okay.
Better on the second exposure, so very mild, vacuum, and that would be, is that a noise or an object? I think it's more noise, but we'll see.
Le train à destination de Paris va entrer en gare.
Good, no problem at all. Now the other noise. The ears go down a little bit. So just very mild, no change really in the dog's energy, but instead of just looking with the ears forward to locate, there's just very mild. So it goes along with the vacuum. Okay?
The dog?
The dog?
Yeah, the dog, yep. And you just stay where you're at. This is a very nice dog for the purpose. Hello. Which is fine, they. So a little bit more excitement, the following.
Allez! Jeep! Jeep, viens! Allez!
And throw toy, yeah.
Jeep, 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 jeep! Jeep, viens!
What we have is a little bit easier for the dog to stay in the right place. But we also have a dog who's trained to do this task. So you could actually practice and teach your dog to, what is expected and give them rewards. But this is the right kind of dog as far as what the dog's doing. It doesn't care about the other dog. Another breed is even better, but this is more important that the dog is not interested. So play around with your dogs. Good. Very nice response. So maybe a little more excited, but just ran for a moment. But the other dog didn't have the benefits, so I would say very mild also.
Jasmine?
Very willing, a little more energy in the dog, but also perhaps what you were saying really about initiative. Yeah. So if that happens, I will show you, I'm just gonna come in for a minute to show you if that happens. What we do is we bring our hand very low. Just so we be sure that they have the chance to see what we're asking.
Okay,
Because the dog may not understand the task.
okay.
So by putting our hands on it, it helps the dog to know what we're expecting.
Jasper?
Otherwise, you can't tell if they jump over and they don't understand, but it's very clear. Oops. So I'd have to look at the definition, I can't remember that one, if it's mild. If he jumps up, I think, and takes it, I know that's severe. If they put their feet on it, I think that one's mild. But I'd have to look, I can't remember that one.
Jasper?
Because it's how often they're doing it and stuff like that. It's brand new for us to have that part. Ideally, the dog is sitting for this part, and that tells you a little bit if the dog will sit or not sit.
Jasper?
If they're getting up, they are more excited. So try to get them sitting before the exam starts. But if the dog will not, that means they're a little mildly excited. It takes more handler intervention to manage the dog.
Okay.
But we don't feed them or anything else during the exam because it gets very hard to tell.
No, there's no food.
Yeah, no, I was just adding that. You're doing very well. And then you go to the side of the dog and you do the foot. You run your hand along the back of the dog, then you examine each foot. So this dog is a little more excited than Lewis, so more mild excitement, but still with some handler support, not a hard dog to work with and not afraid. More happy, excited type dog. A little conflict there, so picking up the foot. Be sure when you pick up the feet it's anatomically correct. Some people are new staff, sometimes take the leg in a way that is not comfortable, so be sure your people are aware of what is correct for the dog. So there could be a little with the foot, I would say very mild on body handling. It was just a very little bit.
Jasper?
So Lewis had more interest. This dog just looked and didn't care, so.
He's interested in food. Thank you.
Try again. So very much like the flirt pole, he just looks, he's not as interested in movement. No? Maybe I'm wrong. So he keeps looking back at it, but it's not, I'm not sure about how big it is and whatnot, but I guess we'd have to say very mild maybe, but I don't know, it didn't go with the flirt pole, so. But he keeps looking, and I think it's because it's novel looking, it's more strange looking.
It doesn't fit like the hounds.
No.
There are no more holes.
No more
Move back a little bit, yes.
You should feed the dog. There's no more balls.
Oh, I'm too skinny? She's joking, of course. So he was a little bit backed up a little bit, and he turned around and looked, but. So he's very mild. He's not slowing down much, but he is a little bit aware, so we would mark him. But because he also moves away when reached for. Did you just see that? That was actually, he trusts this person and has been very positive. So, and they go together, the movement, moving away when reached for, and the harness, body sensitivity. He does not make his rear go down, so he does not have, he's absent for harness sensitivity. So very mild body. He will not have a problem in training based on our data. It's only the ones who have moderate and severe that you just
Release him or on the.
I forgot. Let's see. What's next? Oh yes, come over here and face. No, bring him all the way and have him face the dog. Hold his collar for a moment, and when you see the okay for Mika, then let go. Okay, let go. Mika. Let go. Yeah. We don't want to ever give the dog a command to stay because they may stay there. Okay, stop there, Mika. And it could be that the dog thought that he had to stay, but it's hard for me to know.
I didn't tell anything.
No, you didn't, but it might be that he's very well trained to stick around. So he actually had a very nice reaction and coming up quickly. Oh, wait for a different dog, okay. Okay. So that's, to me, a very nice dog. Good, very nice. Okay, so I was giving the scores as we were going, kind of. Is everybody happy with that? We can just go to the next dog, or does somebody want to disagree with me? Okay, all right.